Hello, my name is Renee. I do these videos called A Mother's Wild Heart, and I love them so much. It's what I'm passionate about, motherhood and mental health, and knowing that these things sometimes meet and clash, and through a few strategies and education can work together. So I'm very, very passionate to help people as I am walking through these things myself, trying to take people on a healing journey. That's my passion. So thanks for coming on. Thank you for listening. Sometimes I talk and then give it a title afterwards, but here I wanted to talk about the beauty within the dark mind. So I'll explain. This was really timely. The other day I was angry after an argument, and I could tell that my emotions were over the top, but it showed me that there's a lot in there. Like something set me off, which was like it was not even a big deal, but I reacted with such strong emotion, which makes me get aware and be like, hang on, why is there so much frustration in me? Because this would have been a small thing to deal with. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, I am doing so much self-care. I'm surrounding myself with unconditional love. I'm really practicing all my meditations. I'm getting into, my faith and, my walk with God, and have so many supportive girlfriends around. So I'm thinking I'm doing all these things right, but why is there this dark place in me where I can tap into and then just dwell? And it's easy to think that things don't work out for me. I have to let everything go. I'm always here to serve others. Something that's really important to me this year was going to Germany. I couldn't go home to see my family. For the first time in years, I wasn't able to fly, although I had saved and made these plans, and just because of Corona. So it was a time of letting things go, but I took it personally. I was like, what have I done wrong? Why do I deserve this? So dark places in me, and I can snap into those really, really easily. Thankfully, I was back out of them because of the CBT training I've been doing. But just the other day, again, I was like, why do I have these dark thoughts that come up all of a sudden, irrelevant to what has just happened? So I was just asking myself, talking to myself, and I was saying, it's not nice that I have these dark places in me. I just want everything to be healed, everything to be open and dealt with, and unconditional love being in all these areas of my life, and I don't want to carry this baggage anymore. Someone once said, carry your luggage but not your baggage. Sounded good. So I want to not carry my baggage through life because it's impacting me sometimes and making me less grateful. Really interesting how in that negative spiral, great things could be happening in front of my nose, and I'll be like, well, that's just coincidence, and that will disappear in a second. So even the beauty of life gets missed when I'm in the spiral. So I don't want that because it robs me from the fullness of life. So then I was at work, and I don't have Netflix at home, but I have Netflix at work and a lot of time, and sometimes I can't sleep when I'm at work. So my client is resting, and then I have all this time. So I can get carried away on the phone, but I just, for some reason, felt drawn to watch this movie, and I didn't really like the title. The title didn't mean much to me. It was called Stoneherd Asylum. The trailer wasn't very enticing, but for some reason I just started the movie, and then throughout the movie I realized why, because it was really, really answering what I had just been looking for, that question of those bad things in my life, why they're still there, and I should get rid of them. And in this movie, it was really, really, really twisted, and you couldn't figure out who to trust in throughout the whole movie, and towards in the really last minutes, you understand who is who and who betrayed who. A fantastic movie. But what stood out to me the most in this movie, and what I needed to hear, was that in the asylum, in the mental health asylum, where people had been pushed away from society and they were there because no one else wanted them and families were embarrassed, and doctors have said there are no cures. So in this asylum they were doing some tests which got revealed, and justice was brought at the end of the movie. But throughout the movie they were talking about the troubled mind, and so many people say it's final and can never change. And I had always had this passion that everyone can be rescued, no matter how bad things have been. Everyone can find redemption. Even a mind that people would say is too far gone, I really believe that there can be rehabilitation to a certain extent. And then I love this particular scene where there was a man. They had put him in a dungeon because he's very strong and he can bend open the bars. So they had him there, and his backstory was that his parents had sold him to the circus because he had a really big skull, like really big bone structure, and wasn't talking. And his teeth were almost like werewolf-looking type. And then that he was an adult, he had a long beard, so he did have this animalistic appearance. But he also behaved like that because no one ever spoke to him. So he was growling, grunting, sitting in a corner. They just tossed some food in because he often attacks the caregivers. So I loved it in this one scene how the doctor goes in and leaves his, what's it called, tranquilizer up. And then he goes down the stairs, literally into the dungeon with this creature. And he says, let's see. And then he says, my eyes are the best allies. So he goes in, and then this guy, because he has no social skills, kind of pushes him against the wall and starts strangling him. And then as he's trying to, like the doctor looks around, and there's been like scribblings on the wall. And all of a sudden he sees out of the corner, in really neat handwriting, the word written Arthur. So that must be his name. So he's like, no one else has been in this cave. So he's like, Arthur, like as he's being strangled, he's like, Arthur, Arthur. And then this creature, who's a human, completely went like, ooh. And it was just beautiful how his face changed. Really good acting, really good mask. But his face changed and his demeanor was like, And then the doctor holds out his hands and says, nice to meet you, nice to make your acquaintance. And the way he spoke to him, really placing value on him, fast forwarding a few scenes, he gets so rehabilitated that he's wearing a tuxedo and at the door greeting people as they come in. And that just stood out to me. That stood out to me so much, and I needed to hear it that day. It's not like I didn't have hope for myself, but in a way, I was just thinking, oh, I'm dragging all these dark places in my heart around with me, and then I'm always in conflict with the light that I'm seeking. But instead of calling them dark places, I just want to rename that, and I have to think of something that I'm going to recall it, but I think I want to call it something beautiful, like the beautiful places that are struggling, because I really believe that the human spark is untouchable. We have value, we have dignity, no matter how hard life has been, and no matter how hard we have hurt others or our mistakes have impacted on others. There's still so much beauty to be found in us. So my passion is to never give up on that beauty, and I do want to write about that. I want to write children's books about that. I want to write a blog, longer story about the beauty within the dark places, and to incorporate them into life and not shut them out in any dungeon, but to say, how can I use this? How can it even bless the world? Thanks for listening. Bye.